It's here live today. I see that Sandy Sizemore is here already. Spodas and Podas here. Welcome. A period here. I'm not sure how to say your name, but A maybe. Tucker Skolman, Frosty Inverts, Mark Holder. 503. Excellent. I don't know the chat. It looks like I'm missing some of these based on the comments other people are leaving. Let me put that on all chat so I'll see more of them. If I missed somebody, I apologize. Hopefully everybody's there. It looks like I just scared away the isopods moving around. Who can name the species on the screen? If you can name the species on the screen, you are a winner. Pulling up the questions from Patreon. I want to make sure I cover them earlier this time because last time I kind of messed up. I didn't do the Patreon questions until close to the very end, which makes it harder. There we go. I got the comments there. Okay, 503, pretty close, but nope, different species there. Having a little trouble focusing for some reason. Maybe it's just the bandwidth. What's going on? Got the right genus, for sure. You know, the other day, I was out in the desert, middle of the day, it was 109 degrees. Kind of warm. Let's see what, okay, Mark. Let me play around with the audio a little bit. Okay, how's that? Is the audio any better? I'm zooming in on the isopods a little bit. Egg grade isopods. Okay. So the sound is coming. I see cement airbag. We do have the swamp cooler running. It would get far too hot in here if we didn't. So, okay. I want to do a test between the two different sounds. Okay. So here is without my iPad charging, and here is with the iPad charging. Do you see a difference? So it's charging and it's not charging. It's charging now and now not charging. Do you notice the difference between those two phases? Okay. Some people are saying it sounds the same. So it's probably just the swamp cooler in the background. I can hear it. Okay. And Sandy? Okay, so there's no change. Yeah, it's probably just the swamp cooler, so unavoidable. I can try different things with the mic. Here's without the mic. And here is with the mic. So let me know if there's a difference there. We'll just see what we can do. And Sandy, at least as far as we know, you're right. This is Porcelia hoffmannseggi black. There's some debate over whether this is the same species as Porcelia hoffmannseggi, the nominate form, but here we go. All right, I see that Yesenia says, new to the isopod world, and I can say I'm addicted. I love them, and your videos are amazingly helpful and entertaining. Well, thank you. Glad to hear that. Okay, so crackles when I change, but the mic is better, it sounds like. Okay, good to know. There's Mantis God. There's Warren. Cool. All right, so we got some questions. First question is from Mark. Missed the answer to the boiling leaves query last week. What is the recommended way? Well, I will say I don't often boil leaves. I have done it, but I generally tend to just cook them at 200 Fahrenheit instead for half an hour. That's my go-to. But if I were to boil leaves, I would just use probably normal tap water because there's not going to be anything left of what you boil it in, really, by the time that it gets to your critters. And put them in, I don't know if it matters from a treatment standpoint if you put them in the boiling water before. Logistically, there are some easier things to putting them in the water before you boil it. Just bring it to a boil, let it boil for a few minutes, then let it cool a little bit, then drain it. And that really, not much more to it. I don't do it because the boiling drains a lot of things. You know, it's going to leach a lot of things out of the leaves. And of course, heating the leaves also destroys some enzymes that are in the leaves. But because the best part of the nutrition that the isopods are getting from your leaves are from the bacteria that are actually breaking down the leaves, and they will still break them down if you cook them. As long as you don't put isopods in a container with the leaves that have recently been sterilized with nothing else, then they can still work, because the bacteria, if you have a decent number of bacteria from other sources, like some leaves that have already begun to decompose, or I've done various other things like put a superworm in an enclosure with the leaves, let it live there for a few weeks, and then take it out when you're done. That can work. That adds a lot of bacteria. You can also just put springtails in with some moss and substrate from another culture, and that helps. That does the same thing. So hopefully that helps on the leaf question, but let me know if I haven't quite addressed it. Also, when constructing a bioactive setup, how do you choose what plants to use? Might be easier for you over there, but in the UK there's no reliable way of knowing if garden centers have used pesticides. I assume that garden centers have used pesticides, unless I am told otherwise by a reputable person. For example, Biodude sources plants that have not had pesticides used on them, and so I can buy plants from Biodude knowing that they're going to be okay. If I buy from another place, I usually use New England Herpeticulture. I think it's anyherp.com, or is it New England? Anyherpeticulture.com is the website. Anyway, their plant treatment method, which can help remove pests, but it can also help remove pesticides. Basically, you make sure the plant has been watered really well prior to treatment, and then you I can't remember the proportions right now of bleach to water, but you put a certain amount, like half a cup of bleach to X number of cups of water, and then you put the plants in there for a short time after they've had a chance to soak up healthy non-bleach water, and leave them in there for a short period of time, take them out, rinse them thoroughly, and by that time hopefully any pesticides on the surface of the leaves has been removed. The bleach can help destroy them. So that is the method that I have used, and I haven't had any problems with it. So I think it's a good way to go. If you go to anyherpeticulture.com and look up plant processing, they have some very specific directions about proportions of bleach to water, kind of thing. And they are also they have a lot of other cool information about vivariums and stuff. It's very, very clear information, so I recommend it. And then here, Mark also he sent a photo of a gecko, said, how's gecko look? She has these cheeks, and I saw it. Her cheeks look very swollen. So I looked at the picture, and I do think those are endolymphatic sacs, which are often referred to as calcium sacs. And some studies have shown indications that what happens with the calcium sacs or the endolymphatic sacs is that a lot of female geckos will store calcium in those sacs, and then when they lay the eggs, they have to take calcium from their body to calcify the eggs with, make the shell, and that they will draw calcium from those sacs, and then the sacs will deplete and look more normal, and then they'll fill up again. Okay, and that seems to be okay as long as that process is going where they deplete, the calcium is removed from the sacs, they don't swell as much, and then they eat more calcium, they lay more eggs, and if that cycle continues, it's okay. But if they're constantly full and packed, that could be an issue. One thing, when I looked at this, because Mark said lighting is 14% UVB tube and a UVA basking light. Food is always dusted and gut loaded. She lays lots of healthy fertile eggs. She's got 2 brewing now. What's causing it? Well, I did have some thoughts. And one thought was that, let's see, can I zoom in there? It's a little fuzzy. One thought was that with the UVB and dusted food, always dusted food, she may actually be getting a little bit too much calcium. And one thing you could do to check that is reduce, don't eliminate the calcium, but if she's got UVB, since it's a house gecko, now we know that UVB can be useful for a lot of geckos and other nocturnal reptiles that get a little bit while they're, a little part of their body is sticking out at night or something like that, and during the daytime, and they're getting a little bit of calcium or a little bit of UVB. They're not basking in it all day like some, like some animals would be. More sun-loving reptiles, but they can benefit from UVB and so on. But anyway, at that level of UVB, she might be getting a little bit too much, especially if she's always getting dusted, and especially if the dust you're dusting with has vitamin D in it. There could be a problem. Sometimes reptiles can get too much vitamin D3 and calcium together, and it causes calcification of places that shouldn't normally calcify. So it could be an infection. I think Sandy mentioned it's possible there's an infection. That is possible too. But one thing you could try is dusting every other feeding, possibly reducing the UVB for a while, like the frequency of UVB or something like that. Give her an hour or two every day instead of 6 or 10 hours or whatever you're giving, and see what happens. That could be a possibility. Otherwise, you might have to take her to a vet if they're infected and get that taken care of that way. But that's something you could look at trying. So I hope that helps. So Ashley Nebo had some questions about killing parasitic nematodes in an isopod culture. I've never actually dealt with parasitic nematodes in an isopod culture. I've read a bit about it. There are some species that are merely commensals, meaning they live with the isopods. They don't do any harm to the isopods, and that can happen a lot. But there are isopods that are parasitic. Some of them are parasitic in combination with a bacterium, so like the bacterium and the worm together work to cause problems for isopods. There are others that can just be problematic by themselves. So whatever, I don't know a lot about it. I wish I knew more, but because I've never dealt with parasitic nematodes specifically, I have raised nematodes of a few different species for fish food, but as far as parasitic nematodes with isopods, I don't know a whole lot about it. I need to find out more. If you know anybody who's a resource in this direction, I'd love to know more about it myself. Okay. So I believe I've answered all of the questions on Patreon, and I will come back to the chat. I wish I could have answered some of those better, but I'm a bit behind on the chat, so I'll try to catch up some, but I won't be able to catch up all. So if I missed something, then you feel free to post it again. And we have 37 people watching. We have 14 likes. If we could get a like spike, there's 15. If we get a like spike right now, that'd be awesome. It helps disseminate the live stream to more people. Okay, Yesenia wanted to know if isopods have molting issues. Yes, they can sometimes have molting issues. It can be a problem, especially when you have an isopod with inappropriate humidity. So isopods that do better with a moisture gradient and it's all moist or something like that, that can cause a problem. Or it's too dry, that can have a problem. So that's part of the reason why a moisture gradient is valuable, because then isopods can usually find the place where they can molt. Okay. We got some more likes, thank you. Okay, so Mantis God, if your beetle larvae have rounded butt ends, that's a good sign that they're not superworms. Blue death fainting beetles do have rounded like a half moon shape on the butt end. So that's awesome. And the color is different too. Thank you, Jackson, for coming in, and I hope your beetles arrive looking great and are doing well. And Sandy, oh yeah, the food dish, the shell food dish is pretty fun for the millipedes. These are Spirostreptus species 1. Oh, Vicabulus is here, or Vicobubbles as he's known on the IsoBuddies channel, which is awesome too. So these are Spirostreptus species 1. These are an African species of millipede. I did see one video, Ashley, that says you can curtail the isopod deaths in some cases by keeping the enclosure drier. But I don't know a load about that. I'm sorry, they're killing your isopods now. Now, which, like, are they widespread among all of your isopods or just some of them? I hope that we're able to get that under control. It's a hard situation to deal with. Here's one thing. I don't know. This is just something, maybe don't just do this, but it's one thing that I've read about. Some nematodes can be controlled by marigold roots. There's a toxin that the marigold roots produces that's specific to nematodes. I don't know if that would be, I'm not saying go plant some marigolds in your isopod enclosures or anything. I'm just saying it might be worth try to do a little bit of research into that direction. If it turns out it's a toxin that doesn't bug isopods, it might help. Okay. So let me know what you think about that. Oh, they came with some springtails. I'm glad it's not all of them. But oh, that's scary that they're being passed along by springtails too. Oh, there's Kevin. Hello, Kevin. Welcome. I want to show you what I'm doing in this bin. Here, let me move this. It's an experimental bin. I've got rubber duckies because rubber duckies like to eat millipede frass. And so I'm experimenting here to see if this works. So far, I'm getting a lot of duckies. I'm not saying that this is necessarily the best thing to do, and I don't usually recommend it. But after talking to Kyle Candillion, he does things like this, and he's had a lot of success with it, so I'm testing it out. So far, so good. Getting some... So far, I haven't had any problems. But that doesn't mean I won't eventually have problems. CK Andrew forgot how stinking cute the rubber duckies are. Yeah, I'm hoping also to see babies in this. I haven't bred this species of millipede yet, but the duckies, I think, are breeding in here. It's a little early to tell for sure. Oh, Yesenia, the reason why I don't ship to Florida yet is because I don't have a permit to do so. They're pretty limited on what they let you ship there, and you need to send voucher specimens, which I did, and I'm still waiting to hear back from them on the voucher specimens. They have not gotten back to me, except for to say, we haven't gotten your voucher specimens. And I said, well, I did send them. Do you really need me to send some more? Because I did send you the voucher specimens, and that's the last I heard. So we'll see what happens. Oh, that's fun. You're just looking at bark. That's not fun. Let's not look at bark. Let's look at something else. I want to share a tragedy with you. Well, I wish the tragedy didn't exist, but I had an issue with this bin. Now these were doing great. That doesn't have any under it at all. That's bad. These were my orange koi, and they were doing fabulously, and I still have some. But I think what happened is one of the kids, when they were doing some maintenance, I think one of the kids left a bridge or a ladder, an escape route, because everything was doing fine. I did not see any die-off, but one day I just saw far fewer orange koi. I had lots in here. Now there's hardly any. I mean, there's some still in the substrate and whatnot as well, but not nearly as many as there should be. And I'm pretty bummed about that, because this is one of my favorite morphs of Porcellus caber. And like I said, it wasn't a die-off thing. It was just they disappeared. So I think it was a bridge or a ladder. Well, here's the thing, Ashley, the cinnamon, yeah, about the the nematodes. Not sure how that would go. Might be worth a test on a, it's a choice between losing a colony and trying something, but yeah, I see what you mean. That could be a problem. I know that small amounts of cinnamon don't hurt isopods at all, since they, Supreme Isopod chow contains cinnamon. They eat that. But hard to say. Warren, both your cows and your scabers had babies. I remember hearing about the scabers, and congratulations. Oh, Sandy Sidemore. Yeah, Arbico. I got something from Arbico. What was that? I think I got some rove beetles, fungus net predators from Arbico. Is that true? Or is that somewhere else? I'm not sure. So Kevin, to a certain degree, we do have to deal with each state, because we send the permit, sorry, just kicked the tripod. We send the permit request in through APHIS, but then each state approves it or doesn't approve it. So that's and we have to get a permit in order to ship isopods out to other states. You have to have a permit for each state. Yeah, these do breed fairly quickly, so I'm hoping to see some soon, but there's only like a half a dozen in here. So sad, because I've got colonies that are younger that are doing much better than this one. I don't think it's because of the, like I said, I don't think there was a die-off. Just Sandy, good to hear you're loving the rove beetles. I am too. I occasionally see a fungus gnat, but it's nothing like it was before. Who can name this species? Let's see who can do it first. So, Kato, can know if it's okay to travel with isopods in your carry-on via plane. Not sure. I think the safest thing to do would be to apply for a permit to travel from your state, from the state you're traveling from, the state you're traveling to. You gotta get a permit for that state, and bring that with you. You could apply, in the permit there's various bits of information about how you're transporting them, and you could put that in there and apply for the permit. So that's what I would try. Okay, I think the first person to get it was 503. These are Cubaris marina glacier. They're a pretty cool little isopod, because they don't come with any pigment. Any color you see in their tissues are either, you see the central system, you're not really seeing their color, or you're seeing color that could come from sequestered carotenoids or other colorants, because it's eating them, not because it actually has pigment that it produces. So Ashley got denied for the permit. Okay. So that's probably tricky. Kevin, I do have a permit for Michigan. In fact, that's the first one I renewed, or not renewed. First one that I amended to change my options for things that I can ship them in. And so, yeah, I do have a current permit for Michigan and most states right now. So, Zefamo just got my very first isopods earlier this month at Dairy Cow Colony. Super excited about them and learning about more species. Awesome. One of my favorite species. Luke, I am your father. My first isopods were actually an aquatic species. Freshwater aquatic species. Going to put these down now. Freshwater aquatic species that I collected near my house when I was about 13 years old. First species to keep and breed. I put them in the aquarium, and they had all kinds of babies and did their thing. So, yeah, it was pretty fun. As far as terrestrial species, my first species, I got all four at the same time. I got Nagurus cristatus, Trichorhina tomentosa, Trichorhina biosolata, otherwise known as the dwarf purple, and Porcelia scaber orange. Those are the ones that I got at the same time. Here's my butter pods. Who can tell me what species and morph this is? I always call them they remind me of butter. Oh, those tiger moths are crazy. I've seen at least pictures of those. I think I've seen some in real life as well. Very cool. Robert Flyer, tiger beetles seasonal. Right now I'm breeding some of them. I'm not sure how long they live for and if they only appear for a certain season. I think it depends on the species. Robert Fly of tiger beetle. And I think the ones I'm familiar with are seasonal. They tend to appear in the summer most commonly, in the heat of the summer, the ones that I'm familiar with. Butter beans, I love it. Pids fam, that's awesome. 503, close. Very close. They are Armadillidium vulgare, but they are Armadillidium vulgare T negative. There's no, you don't see any of the darker colors that are common in the T positive. Triceratops beetles I have not kept before. So yep, 503, you did get them. T negative albino. Looks like you posted that before I said anything, so that's cool. Let's see, I want to show you something else I'm testing out here. Trying out some of the, I think this is the Zoomed excavator soil in here. I put some in with my Scolopendra polymorpha recently. Seems to be using it. It's produced some burrows. I'm kind of disturbing it now, but it's creating burrows in there, so it's kind of cool. Oh, Derek trying to cross T negative with orange to try and get a highlighter yellow form. Very cool idea. Love that. Let me know how that goes. I'll be first in line if you get a highlighter yellow, and maybe I should start crossing some now. See what I can do too. Maybe we can compare notes and exchange gene pool. You know, we can do some bloodline trades. That sounds kind of fantastic. Okay, sorry you're looking at blank nothing right now. I don't like it when I do that to you, so I'm going to show you something else. Just a second. Speaking of that, what Derek just brought up, okay, I have something interesting going on in one of my orange bins, and I've been trying to isolate it. Let me see what some of these can show up here. These are showing up in my orange bin, and they're not really orange anymore. So these might be interesting genetically. I mean, they've got some orange, but they're coming out really pale. So I'm trying to get, oh, there, the light's messing up. Okay, so can one of my mods take care of that spam bot? Thank you. See, that's happening right now. Okay, cool. So it works in Scabers. So that sounds awesome, Derek. We need to talk about this. Yellow Submarina. Oh, that's awesome. Love it. That species, or that morph, would be worth it for the name alone, but also because it sounds awesome. So we had a question about, let's see. I'm going to see if I can take care of that. Can I do anything? Report. Okay, I'm trying to see if I can report that spammer too. Okay, so I know I show these a lot, but Sorry about that. This was a question. Who asked this? The question about the magic potions. Oh, Pitts fan. So genetically, what's going on with magic potions? It's actually pretty easy to explain. Here's some magic potions. And there's two things going on. Magic potion is a pied expression with low dark patterning. So you get a few specks, as you can see in some of these, of dark colors. And the yellow color is a separate gene or set of genes or whatever that governs the yellow color. The yellow color in Japanese line magic potions, which is what these are, is approximately on a par with just normal wild type Armadillidium vulgare. You get it sometimes. You get little yellow flecks there, especially in females. But in the American type, the yellow has been selectively bred for. Let's take a look at those. You can see the difference. This is what the American line magic potions look like. There are a lot more yellow going on. Hopefully you can see some of these because they've been line bred for it. So the dark color comes because it's a pied expression. The yellow that is naturally there has been intensified in the American line, the American line magic potion, or the true magic potion. And that is why it is there. I'm trying to see, where are they all hanging out? So you can see a lot more yellow than in the Japanese magic potion, and some of it's pretty highlighter yellow too. So hopefully that helps. So is the video back? And Derek, yeah, the US line is bigger, and yeah, than the Japanese line too. That makes sense. Nobody can see anything? I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the stream. That's ridiculous. I wish this were not happening. Sorry. Let me see if switching the camera helps. Let me try it. Are we back? Nothing. Okay, well, darn. I'm going to start the stream. I'm going to start a new stream because I don't see this working. Okay? So I'm going to try to start the stream. Let me see if I can redo it. Please join me again.